Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another Mage Night Highlights. Today we're going to go through the elite units. So I picked out 5 elite units I really like. We have again one honorable mention, and the honorable mention is the Ultima Masters. So obviously this unit has the potential to be incredibly powerful. The reason I haven't put it in the main 5 is really the cost to use it. So first of all, it can only be recruited in a city. It can only be recruited through interaction, so you can't use something like Call to Glory or Banner of Command. It's the I think it's the highest costing unit at 13 influence as well. Now, obviously, you get a very strong unit. You have 3 armor, but it has all 3 resistances. So absorbing damage is a good one to absorb damage. You have some very, very powerful abilities, and you can use these against you can use multiple, like a number of these, and you have the flexibility to use them against the same or different enemies. So all of that is fantastic. The reason, obviously, that I've left it as an honorable mention is the mana cost. So yeah, you have 4 powerful abilities, but using them is just going to suck a lot of mana from your inventory, or crystals from your inventory, or mana that's available to you. So I think the cost is extremely high for these for this unit. Obviously the payoff is quite large potentially. I think I've gotten this once or twice during a game. And I think I was only able to use maybe 1 or maybe 2 of the abilities. So I don't think I managed to use it to its full potential. So it is very difficult to get to use them to their full potential, I think. And that's kind of the reason I've left it as an honorable mention. I do recognize that they're an incredibly strong unit. It's just the cost is extremely high. Even if you do manage to get hold of them. So yeah, that's the Ultima Masters. Number 5, the first one then I chose is the Sorcerers. So quite flexible in where you can recruit the Monastery or Mage Tower. The cost isn't too prohibitive, at only 9 influence. You got a decent armor value of 4, both fire and ice resistance. So again, assigning damage to these guys and letting them absorb it is doable. Then the abilities, yeah, you got ranged attack 3. That's basically doesn't cost you anything to use that. But then you have the white mana cost and a green mana cost. If you pay the white, you can the chosen enemy loses all fortifications and you get ranged attack 3. So this kind of reminds me of the white powered spell Expose, I think, where yeah, the enemy gets, or you lose all fortifications, but it gives you ranged attack 2, and then mass expose, enemies lose either all fortifications or all resistances, and you get ranged attack 3. So that, I think that was in my favorite spells. These are obviously very powerful abilities. The cost isn't too bad. You can pay white or a green, and then you can combine it. So if you, like, let's say you choose the white, and the enemy loses all fortifications, combine it with some more ranged attack, and you can deal with them in the ranged attack and siege attack phase rather than having to go through the block phase. Equally, if you're facing an enemy with quite a few resistances and you have a decent amount of block, you can use the green powered effect. You get ranged attack 3, but they no longer have any resistances. So yeah, it's quite a strong card for not an overly high cost. So yeah, that's the first one. Second then is the catapults. Again, a bit of flexibility in where you can recruit them city or keep. Not too bad of a cost in 9 influence. 4 armor. You don't have any resistances, but I think that's okay given the flexibility in the unit's abilities. So again, free siege attack 3, no mana cost to get that. Obviously If you can compare this with Into the Heat, siege attack 3 becomes quite a bit higher, and you can deal with enemies. You can combine this with other units to provide siege attack, or cards that provide siege attack, and yeah, takes care of a problem quite early in this stage of combat. But you also have the flexibility if you need it to go with red or blue mana and pay that cost, and then you can not only increase the siege attack value to 5, but you also turn it into an elemental attack as well. So that can be quite important, depending on the enemy you're facing and the resistances it has. So yeah, that is the catapults. Always a strong unit. I rarely regret picking them up. Number 3 then is the Ultim Guardians. So again, this is a bit higher cost and more restrictive. So they have you can only recruit them in a city, and they cost 11 influence. But you do have quite a significant jump in armor value to 7. If you can combine that with some of the artifacts, maybe that give you resistances to your units. This is quite a good one to absorb damage from enemies. If you can make it gain either one or multiple resistances because of their high armor value. Not only that, then you get attack 5. That's pretty decent. 5 attack is it does make a difference. The ability I find I probably use these guys more for is the blockade. That is a lot of block. But not only that, if you're facing an enemy with swiftness, you basically have 16. So even if the block is inefficient, you usually get a good way, if not all of the way, to blocking an enemy. So yeah, that is, and then on top, you can use it if you want for all units you control, gain all resistances this turn, and that just costs a green mana. I've used that less than the other 2 abilities, but yeah, just having that flexibility is great. So that's the Ultim Guardians. The 4th then is the Amatep Freezers. So again, flexibility. You've got the city and the keep where you can recruit them. Relatively low cost for what you're getting here, I think. At 8 influence, 6 armor is a lot. Again, if you can somehow get resistances for your units, that's pretty decent armor value. You get attack or block of 5, so the good flexibility there. Maybe you can combine the attack 5 with, let's say, the Sword of Justice, which doubles all physical attack. That turns it into an attack of 10. And then the blue mana cost, that ability, target enemy does not attack this combat, it gets armor -3. I think that's for 1 blue mana, that is an incredible effect. And yeah, it's one of the reasons why I really like to see the Amatep Freezers in the offer. In addition to everything else here, I think the blue mana effect, reducing an enemy's armor by -3. Again, if you're going into a city, you're going to have multiple enemies. Some of them probably have ice resistance, some of them don't. So obviously you won't get the armor reduction if you use it on an ice resistant enemy. But yeah, if you target an enemy with no ice resistance, yeah, getting that armor -3, especially if it has like fire and physical resistance, that can save you quite a lot of attack. And also it frees you up in terms of not having to block the enemy, because it's just preventing them from attacking altogether. So yeah, I think given the flexibility of where you can recruit it, the armor value, and then the flexibility in the abilities, versus a cost of only 8 influence and 1 blue mana, I think the Amatep Freezers is definitely one, if you haven't yet, to consider more often. I think it's a card I absolutely love. I love having the Amatep Freezers as one of my units. So yeah, that's why I've chosen it. And then the final one you probably guessed is the Ultima Mages. It's hard to leave these ones out. Again, similar to the Delphana Masters, can only be recruited in the city. They are cheaper than the Delphana Masters at 12 versus 13. You have a higher armor value at 5 versus 3. You don't have physical resistance, but you still have fire and ice resistance. And yeah, these can be recruited using a spell called to Glory or the Banner of Command. And then you also have some pretty good flexibility here that doesn't use up as much of your mana as the Delphana Masters. So you can either gain 2 mana tokens of any color, or you don't even need to pay for this effect. The basic effect here is cold fire attack or cold fire block of 5. So having access to cold fire attacker block is really useful. Not only that though, for 1 or 2 mana you can increase that, so you can pay a blue or a red to increase it to cold fire attack or cold fire block of 7, and if you pay both blue and red you can increase it to 9. So yeah, if you have an over or more mana than you need, you can basically just use it to increase this attack. And then the best effect obviously is the one that costs black. So pairing this with one of the artifacts, the ring artifacts that give you unlimited black is quite a lot of fun. All attacks you play this combat become cold fire attacks, or all your attacks become siege attacks in addition to any elements they have. So yeah, you can imagine like just 1 black mana, and you can turn all your attacks into siege attacks, and elemental siege attacks at that. Yeah, that's kind of Ultim Mages. What a unit. And yeah, just being able to absorb damage. Yeah, Ultim Mages, I don't think there's much else to say. Definitely one of the strongest units in the game. So yeah, that is the 5 I've chosen. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Would you have chosen any differently? Always interested to hear people's thoughts. Perhaps there's a unit I'm undervaluing. I would like to hear about it if you think so. But yeah, that's going to do it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and hope you can join again next time. Thank you.